Hello. Welcome to the very first of these, the LMI Live. We're talking about practical leadership, streamed direct to our LinkedIn page. So us being Leadership Management UK, part of the LMI Leadership Management International family of companies, with representatives across, thinking specifically across the UK, the north and south, and east and west. And we've got a couple of us together today. So my name's Nick Howes. I lead the UK team, and I'll be hosting these. Very pleased to have Mark Tonks and Silje Howes join us today. Welcome to you both.
Hi, Nick.
Thank
you.
Great. Why don't you just take a moment, introduce yourself, Mark, kind of say hello and tell us a little bit of what you've been up to.
Okay, so Mark Tonks, based in Birmingham, based in Sutton Coldfield, been a part of the LMI crew for 22 years, principally operating in what I would call the Greater Midlands area, which is from the Scottish borders down to the south coast. And, working with SMEs, corporates. I've worked with an opera singer. I've worked with a cage fighter. I've worked with football clubs, rugby clubs, and all points in between. So I just love what I do. So that's me.
Yeah. So when people say we work with all kinds, and you genuinely can say yes.
Yeah, I have. 16 to 64. I'm probably getting a bit older now as the workforce ages.
Yep.
Plenty of people still got loads in the tank in the 60s.
Yes, well, we very much look forward to some practical wisdom drawn from all of those experiences, and genuinely, Mark, always value your very candid insight, and particularly under the banner of what we're looking for these to be. It's about practical leadership stuff. We're not on these sessions going to be talking kind of highfalutin management theory. It's this is the kind of heart of what we do. Is we help leaders on a day-to-day basis do what they've got to do, and sometimes that's not massively sexy from a this looks right, but it's the really important stuff that makes things work for individuals, teams, and organizations. And so know that that's very much up your street as well. Silje, say hello as well.
Hiya. Yeah, so I'm Silje. I'm based in Surrey, and my sort of expertise within LMI is I work with mainly the program Making of a Champion, which is for young adults. So 16 plus people in grad schemes. And again, just the sort of ability to lead yourself well and know about your purpose and sense of what you want to do in life, which is always an exciting journey to be on. So, yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, we'll look forward to hearing a bit more about that very soon. And again, it's really important that the leadership journey is not one that just starts when you're 40 or 50 or you get your first team to lead. It's really important for us that leadership starts as early as possible. We're learning leadership skills, and smart organizations are investing in people's leadership development way before they have the responsibility of leadership. I'm sure, Mark, in your time you come across loads of times people have been thrust into a leadership role and then they go, I've been a technical expert, I've been brilliant, I've been loyal, I've been a good member of the team, and now I'm leading. What do I do? Or help me, and or even the kind of thing of people going through a really practical LMI program of development and thinking, I wish I'd had this years ago.
Well, yeah, I mean that's. I think we've all seen it, maybe even experienced it, maybe even fallen foul of it, where somebody that was good at the day job gets promoted into the team leader, manager, departmental head, whatever, and it turns out to be a disaster because the role of the leader manager is different from the role of the doer, and people get promoted on skills, knowledge, and experience. And those softer skills, or I think they're called power skills now. They're not called softer skills.
We like that. Power skills.
Yeah, it is a bit. You're standing your Power Rangers outfit. Show me age. But it's
don't bring that out on one of these, Mark.
No. Well, I'll give you plenty of warning, mate, if I'm dressed in lycra. Don't you worry about that. But I think people are recognising now that those skills aren't soft. They are really valued, really needed, communication skills, empathy skills, listening skills, that ability to understand your people is really the key. It's not about knowledge, skills, and experience. You can learn that stuff. You can learn that by rote if you need to, but it's all that other stuff that they're not taught at school. There's no degree course in it, so you learn that stuff on the job. And if you're not exposed to an opportunity to even understand what that looks like, I mean, you said that sort of hallelujah moment for me was, I was 39 years old when I got introduced to LMI. And it made me realise for 10 years how badly I'd been leading my people. It was that, oh God, yeah, now I get it. Now I understand why. And if they're listening, Andy in Leeds understood me and Clive in Bournemouth didn't. It was one of those things. It was like, now I get it. And that's the beauty, isn't it? I mean, that's the practical use of what we do, is that allowing people to have that moment of, God, now I get it. I wish I'd known this at 19.
Yeah.
But at 19, would I have been ready for it? Probably not.
No, and that's it, isn't it? And being able to learn, I guess, gradually things. If you say you take your first formal leadership role at 30, if you've been learning this stuff gradually since you were 23, or whatever, then it's familiar when you kind of come into it. It's great. We've got some comments on LinkedIn. Nital, hi, and Folk as well. Thanks for your comments coming through. Nice to know people are watching. We're not just doing this into the ether.
Better be careful now then.
Yes, watch what you say. Yeah, really, we run a Foundations of Success workshop. So every month we run an open course, Foundations of Success. We call it. Some of the kind of really core practical elements that we know help people. And somebody's comment was out, I thought I was really good at this. Actually, what I realize is, I'm good at responding to lots of things, but actually I'm getting distracted the whole time. I'm not focused on the right stuff. And just some of the things we do in that session around creating space for uninterrupted time, switching off your emails for certain periods, communicating in advance when you're open to be contacted, and setting up regular meetings and all that sort of thing, rather than back and forth. And it's that sort of thing. I thought I was pretty good at this, but some learning can be helpful. Silje, tell us a bit about early careers stuff, because from a practical point of view, so you're working with people, multinational organization, doing the Making of a Champion program as part of their grad scheme. So learning its leadership qualities, really, rather than the kind of the nuts and bolts of the leading a team or leading an organization. It's really about leading themselves. What sorts of things are landing well there and showing themselves as really important?
Yeah. And I love the fact that we can have aha moments when we're 39, when we're 60, whatever age we are. For me, leadership and learning leadership is about learning to lead yourself well. And I think leadership starts with not necessarily the team stuff and the leading stuff, but it's that learning to be in charge of my own outcome, learning to take responsibility. And I think when we talk about leadership, it's about management, and it's about managing ourselves. It's about managing time and managing tasks. These are things that are always a challenge to people, whether we're 16 working towards our GCSEs, A levels, whether it's early years career, or whether it's later on in life. To be able to manage our time well, be able to sort of prioritize our tasks, and ultimately leading ourselves. They're the sort of three things that really we're working on through habits, just choosing something we can work on as a habit. We do a weekly planner practically, which is basically to help people set goals. We are and LMI is very big on goal setting, but it's about having something that we're working towards, that we have decided is important and worth our while, that then makes us feel successful. And I think everybody wants to feel successful. And if we can start early by putting success into our sort of our minds and the way we work, we are set up to do well in life. And I think that's what we're working on. So, and priorities, what must I do? What can I do if possible this week? just so that we take off, and it comes back again and again, no matter how. Time management is like one of the biggest challenges within leadership, within businesses. And to be able to, from very early on, prioritize our time well, that is the things that we're working on, which everybody is really taking on board. Because I think already, as the sort of grad scheme in big organization, you're feeling time pressure, you're feeling task pressure.
Yeah, there's no ease you in gently, is there? It's just you get that sense of right, you're in now. It's 100 miles an hour.
Yeah. Absolutely. But then also within that, not losing our sense of self, not losing ourselves of our own development, what's important to us, and have that balance of work and life. And yeah.
Good. Silje, I'm going to put it up that weekly plan that we've got. The simplicity, again, really practical, just to kind of highlight the idea that it's leadership and doing it well, and not just for young people. We come across this, working with leaders, no matter what age, 20, 30, 40 years into their career, still the organization skills of being on top of what needs to be done, organization priorities, doing the right things today, as opposed to getting caught up in all of the stuff. And you get to the end and go, sometimes do a short session called "Who Stole My Day?" And it always goes down really well, because so many people relate to that. I had these things I wanted to do, and it ended up getting taken all over. So I love this weekly planner sort of template, weekly goal, weekly sort of work or study goal, personal goal, do if possible, must do. So it's prioritizing a list of things to do, some habit tracking. And my particular favorite bit of this is progress and victories, where you just being able to talk about and record, this has gone well, so we feel successful. Is that kind of going down well with the group, the progress and victories bit?
Absolutely. And I think one of my favorite sayings from an LMI program is, we are the best version of ourselves when we keep our strength and our achievements at the forefront of our mind. And I think that is very powerful. That's why progress and victories are important, because actually it brings out the best in us. And also to be able to look back and go, you know what, I did that. I feel good about achieving this. I might, and even if I only got one step of the way towards the 10 steps I needed to achieve, but even taking one step towards something is still successful. And I think that's the thing, is it makes us feel good. It keeps the motivation going. And for a lot of people, keeping motivation up is a big struggle. But to look at our own achievements and our own progress, that brings that inner motivation kicking in. So, yeah.
Yeah, certainly.
I see that all the time, at whatever age, to be honest, that whole people's true understanding of planning and organising themselves around their goals, their high payoffs, their outcomes, KPIs, whatever language we're talking. And I think one of the challenges we face from a practical point of view, this is talking practicalities, none of this stuff is genuinely taught in school. None of this stuff is genuinely taught in university. So when people arrive in the workplace, there's an assumption that they are able to plan and organise themselves around the things that get results. One of the challenges, many people don't even know what the things they do that get results are. Oh, everything's a priority, Mark. Well, we know everything can't be. They don't have a day-to-day system for doing it. They rely on a gadget, a gizmo, a software system. Essentially, what they are good at is just keeping a diary, which is basically reactive. I've got appointments, I've got meetings, I've got whatever. It's not a proactive. And next Thursday at 3:00, I'm going to be working on this project because the deadline's for Friday at 4. They do none of that stuff. And they set themselves up on a daily basis for failure because they make a to-do list of 57 things. And whilst they're knocking off 3 or 4 off the top in no particular order, 7 or 8 are being added to the bottom. So they start the day busy and overwhelmed. They finish it even busier and more overwhelmed and go, what was the point of that then? And we see that all the time when you just go, right, stop a minute, guys. Why have you got 10 things on a list knowing that you're not going to get them done? How about you put 3 things on a list that you can get done and get that sense of progress and victory? Mm-hmm. Celebrate you've achieved something. Do it again tomorrow. And the mindset shifts. Simple stuff that works. Yeah. But they're not showing this stuff.
No, it's I'm just going to put the slide up that we talk about, the total leader concept of addressing the 4 key aspects of leadership. So personal productivity, personal leadership, motivational leadership, strategic leadership. It seems to me like the exciting side of it, the one we'd kind of be drawn towards, is the motivational stuff, the vision, the managing change, the strategic stuff. But it all begins on the left-hand side with personal productivity, just being ordered in your own world. So you've got the space, the energy to show up and be positive and proactive, and the personal leadership about my own kind of self-motivation and attitudes and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's we have that conversation so much. So can I do sure, I want to do some strategic leadership stuff. I'm not doing enough of that. And often the reason is the productivity. It's the organization, it's the day-to-day management to create the space and the energy to be able to do that.
Oh, I would agree. I mean, I think there's hope for us, because I read an article, it was probably posted on LinkedIn, that Generation Zers, or whatever we want to call them, they're picking up books again. They're engaging in reading hard copy books, not just listening to podcasts or just watching stuff on YouTube or using an app or a software package. They're actually, they're enjoying this. I go and buy a book and I physically read it, but they're also joining reading circles and they get that interaction. Now, if they're picking up books and reading, they might pick up one of these things and start writing again and making that, that transition from typing something on a keyboard, which is a barrier really, it's a filter, the screen's a filter. Picking up one of these and writing out your plan for the day on a piece of paper, on a planning system or whatever, is so much more powerful than it ever will be typing it onto a platform.
Yeah.
This is personal, this is me, it's an extension. And interestingly, working with a client on Tuesday, Nick, I haven't told you yet, you'll be happy. She said, have you got something you could send me that my people could just plan on every day? And it was like, hey, presto, your little blue book.
Yeah, my little blue book, yeah.
I might need a few,
Okay,
this is an insurance company, forward thinking, growing, building their business, exciting, young people. We need something to write in. And that's going to happen. That will make a difference. That's a practical step to improve stuff.
Yeah. We were talking about this loads in the Foundations of Success workshop this morning, and we kind of introduced the concept of 10 magic minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just it's very unspectacular, but sit down for 10 minutes, put a timer on, and say for 10 minutes I'm doing nothing in terms of tasks. I'm just thinking and planning for the day ahead, writing some stuff down, create a bit like the week plan that Silje was talking about, but doing it for the day and saying, here's what today looks like if it goes well, and putting it into a framework. Yeah, with a pen. Some people can do it well digitally, electronically. It's always the big debate. You have to be really disciplined to do it electronically because it just carries over. You don't get a blank sheet at the start of the next day. You can just then back it up, and it then becomes.
It's this obsession with do everything faster rather than about we focus on do everything better. I think better wins every time over faster.
Yeah.
We can all race to the bottom if we want to. We can do that. But how about we just stop and let's have a think. It's okay to stop and do nothing. And think about what should I be doing rather than what am I doing.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly.
Is what I'm planning to do next actually gonna help me achieve the goal I set out? Or is it just noise and stuff that I'll fill my next hour up with?
Sure. Yeah, this is super practical, nitty gritty leadership stuff, isn't it? You know, picking
Not
up your pen.
sexy. It's really dull, but it works. You know.
Is it not the stuff you lie on the beach in the Bahamas thinking about? Can't wait to get back and do a bit of daily
it's like
planning.
buying insurance, isn't it? Oh, I can't wait to get back and buy some insurance. You know,
reminds me, I've got to do that today.
Insurance companies, by the way. You know. But yeah, no, it's not the sexy stuff, but it allows you to do the sexy stuff.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And if you don't do that front end piece, if I'm not managing myself, as Silje said, and I'm not leading myself, you can forget the rest. Because you'll never get around to it.
Yeah. We've got a comment. It's a little while ago from Faraz on LinkedIn. Just a bit of a leadership definition. Leadership skills are for me essentially about learning new ways to lead, guide, and empower your team. And I think that's very much the case. And perhaps we'd add in, based on some of our conversation, and some old ways. And I think some tried and tested stuff that can get lost in the digitalization of the world and everything going online, and actually the simple processes, as well as kind of new ways to apply that in our situation. So we did kind of come primed with a bit of a definition. So for us, thank you, you've linked us into that. Silje, if we kind of were to define leadership for you, what kind of things come to mind? I know you said a bit about that earlier on, but
yeah, it's what I said. Leadership to me, it's about leading yourself, as well as obviously leading, often comes leading others, but it's about taking the best of myself and working with it, as well as being able to take the things that I'm maybe not so good at and working on it. So for me, leadership is about becoming a better version of myself. On all levels of life.
Excellent. Like that a lot. Yeah, really good. Mark, what's your definition of leadership, or one of the 50 that you have up your sleeve?
Yeah, it's the $1 million question, isn't it? Lots of people say, so if you could, define leadership in one word. My answer is I can't define leadership in one word. Not a prayer. There's so many facets to leadership. There's some no-brainer stuff which we might talk about later. But in terms of leadership of self and others, we're talking about integrity, we're talking about honesty, we're talking about empathy, we're talking about service, and I think that's possibly the most misunderstood aspect of leadership. That the role of a leader is to serve, not to be served. The role of the leader is to take care of. The role of a leader is to act as a positive influence. The role of a leader is to stewardship. You're in a position where you can have such a powerful impact on the lives of other people. But you only get them for in the big scheme of things, you get them for a tiny. So you're just taking care of them whilst you're responsible for taking care of them, and then you hand them on. And if you hand them on and hand yourself, if you're a better version of you, absolutely. But then everybody you work with, if you pass them on to wherever next, better than when you first met them, you've done the role of a leader.
Yeah.
It's not about fixing anybody. It's not about judging anybody. It's not about them serving you and doing for me what I want. So it's the other way around. And when you work with people in business, they get their promotion, they get their title, and they think, right, everybody's going to do as they're told now. Whoa, stop! No, your role is to help them become and achieve more. And in doing that, trust me, your outcomes will be taken care of as a byproduct.
Yeah.
They'll do the right things by them, they'll do the right things by you. So, and I think there's some misunderstandings in the world about that. They all think it's, right, I've got a team, they're all going to look after me now.
Yeah.
Reverse that one.
Yeah, it's profound stuff, isn't it? And we see so much of that going on, and we think, this, good leadership. Yeah, without looking too far around into the world and examples of leadership where it's not really very good, is it?
You don't have to look too far, do you?
Yeah, no. And when you see it done well, just everybody wins. You know, everybody cheers when leadership is done well. We've got some comments in there. Hello, is it Nofa from Amman in Jordan? Welcome, and also Vital is earlier on from LMI in India. Hi, Kevin. Thanks for your comment. Good to know people are watching us. We could end up down this conversation of the essence of leadership. Really could take us, and maybe that's a good subject to pick up on next time. And it's fun, isn't it? It's a divergent subject to planning your day. We were onto some of those really practical, but it's all wrapped up. That total leader graphic we looked at earlier, it's all together, because often the being able to think about and remember and plan for being the kind of leader you just talked about, Mark, comes down to, did I create space to think about it in my day, rather than just get lost in 1,000 emails and all those other things.
It's full time.
Yeah,
it's not, choose to be a leader for the next 5 minutes. No, it's full time.
Sure.
You're not leading yourself. You're not other people. You're leading an organisation. You're leading a situation. It's full time, full contact, up close and personal. That if you want to be a leader, that's what you've got to commit to. Commit to that cause.
Yep. Yeah, it's a great way to think. If I lead a team, these are the people I'm serving.
Yeah, absolutely.
On a day-to-day basis.
Right. Absolutely right.
Good. Yeah, we're coming. We plan to do half an hour. We've got a couple of minutes left on that. So we'll. One of the things that's probably worth mentioning is the Foundations of Success workshop. So we've talked a bit about that. Some of the really practical things on a big scale, and then right the way down to day to day. And that's something we run monthly. You can see the link for that going along the bottom of the screen, just LMI-UK.com/FOS. And there are the first two places for any UK organisation are on us. They're complimentary, just because we want to share some of these ideas and hopefully pass them on. If you've already been on that, you're watching this and you've already been on, share it with somebody that hasn't yet. So that's great. Perhaps in closing, a couple of sort of summary thoughts, 2 or 3 things that you'd say in terms of practical day-to-day things. These are kind of helpful things for leaders to consider. Again, whether it's just leadership of ourselves, and who is a leader, we believe it's everybody. So it's this is inclusive. Whether you're running the world's biggest corporation, or whether you're in your first job out of school, and and you're bottom of the chain in terms of the organizational structure, you're still a leader. A couple of practical things. Silje, what have you thought of in that?
I always say it's the 10 magic minutes that makes us the best leaders that we can be. It's about, as I said, managing time, tasks, and ourselves. And I think that's how you start with that, is by sitting down and planning. That's the basic of great leadership, is sit down, prioritize, plan. And that goes down to, who am I delegating to? Who am I giving responsibility? Who do I believe in? Who am I going to push into the sort of their little, outside their comfort zone, so that they can learn and grow as well? And I think that's really important. So,
yeah, great. Good. Mark?
Yeah, I mean, it's I listen to loads of different podcasts, and one of them is a high performance podcast, and they always say at the end of that, so what are your no-brainers? What are the non-negotiables? And every time I listen to somebody, I go, that's a good one. I'll nick that one. So you end up with like 35 non-negotiables.
Yes,
so
yeah.
I was giving this some thought, and I got my red biro out for this job.
Oh, it must be serious.
Oh. And I've come up with 3 that today, the 3. So number 1 to me is from any perspective on leadership, personal responsibility. If you're going to change something, it's going to be up to you. You can't, no excuses. Take personal responsibility for whatever it is. It's up to you. So that's number 1. Number 2, focus on what you can do. And let's not, get sucked into that, oh, woe is me, there's 99 million things I can't do. Okay, just be brilliant to that one thing. Just do that one high priority thing today. Just, what can you do? Don't worry about what you can't. And the final one for me, which applies to every leader in any situation, is integrity. And you know, a lot of people get a bit confused about that. I simplify most things because I am a simple fella. Do what you say you're going to do every time.
Yeah.
Honour your commitment. You say it might not be what I want to hear, what you're going to do. Might not like what you said you're going to do, but do what you said you were going to do.
Yeah.
100% of the time. And that's a great leadership trait. You know, there's some tough decisions that will go on right now in business. But just so take responsibility, focus on what you can do, and make that commitment to what you said you're going to do, go and deliver.
Yeah.
Those would be 3 leadership traits. If every leader adopted, you're not going to go too far wrong.
No, some real kind of essentials, core stuff. Like you, I've got that list of 95 things I like from the listen to that high performance podcast, and plenty of others where you go, oh, this is great. So, the thing I would add on to that is just from a really practical point of view is progress and victories. Is do something really practical. Start somewhere, a list, head it progress and victories, and just write good stuff down.
Yeah.
Things that you plan to happen, things that you didn't plan to happen, good conversations you had, progress. If you're in business and you make sales, you win a contract, write it down, but you had a good conversation, you helped somebody helped you, you got some nice feedback. It's just a brilliant thing to have. That it motivates and energizes, but it also informs. If these are some of the good outcomes that I've experienced, what did we do to achieve some of those outcomes? And they can then, perhaps there's some of the high payoff activities that I should be planning into my days on a more regular basis. Comment from James from Perth, Western Australia as well. So thank you. We've really kind of hit across the globe. We were thinking just fairly local, but this is the power of the internet and LinkedIn especially. We've had a lot of fun doing this. Mark, Silje, thank you very much for being involved in this inaugural LMI Live Practical Leadership. We will be doing some more of these on a kind of regular basis, roughly once a fortnight on a Friday at midday. And we'll have various members of the LMI gang from the UK, perhaps some overseas that have been commenting, watching here, and clients as well, people we've worked with, tell us some of their stories around kind of what does practical leadership look like. So hopefully if you've been watching and following and now and in the future, you get some really good, useful stuff. Excellent. We'll end the broadcast there. Have a great end to the week and a good weekend, everybody. Cheers.
Thank you.